Now, before you get your pitchforks ready in the comments, let me point something out. This isn't about defending every company or ignoring the real issues in the K-pop industry. There are plenty of valid criticisms of how entertainment companies treat idols, and fans have every right to call out mistreatment. But today, I want to talk about why the insult company stan isn't always as logical as people think. If you've been in K-pop spaces for long enough, you've probably heard someone get called a company stan as an insult. It's thrown around whenever someone defends a company's decision, criticizes an idol's actions, or even just acknowledges that K-pop is a business. But here's the thing, does calling someone a company stan even make sense? First off, let's define what a K-pop company actually is. It's not a single person. It's a huge organization with management, staff, PR teams, producers, legal teams, and more. These people work behind the scenes to market, promote, and manage idols, ensuring their careers even exist in the first place. So when people say you're standing a company, what does that even mean? Standing the producers who make the music, the stylists who dress the idols, the managers who keep schedules running. Because that's all part of the company too. And yes, even idols themselves are part of a company. So, what exactly are we talking about here? The problem with the term company stan is that it oversimplifies everything in K-pop. It assumes that every single company is evil, every idol is a helpless victim, and that defending any company decision automatically makes you some kind of corporate bootlicker. But the reality is much more complex than that. K-pop is an industry, and idols and companies need each other to function. Now, let's be clear, K-pop companies are not saints. Many have been exposed for mistreatment, unfair contracts, poor management, and even legal violations. Fans absolutely have the right to criticize them when they fail to protect idols or make decisions that harm their artists. But that doesn't mean every single thing a company does is evil. There are times when companies make the right choices, whether it's legally protecting their artists, handling promotions effectively, or managing scandals in a way that prevents long-term damage. But the moment someone acknowledges this, they get hit with, "Shut up, company stan." No discussion, no room for nuance, just an instant dismissal. But blindly hating a company isn't any better than blindly defending one. If you automatically side with idols in every situation, assuming they're always victims with no agency, that's just as irrational as blindly trusting the company. K-pop isn't that simple. Many fans act like companies are the enemy, but let me remind you, idols need companies, and companies need idols. Yes, some idols have left their companies and continued their careers independently, but how did they get famous in the first place? Through years of training, investment, branding, and marketing handled by their company. K-pop idols don't become successful in a vacuum. Their music, performances, and even their global exposure are largely shaped by the teams behind them. Does this mean companies deserve all the credit? No, but pretending they do nothing for idols is just as ridiculous. The real issue here isn't just the phrase company stan, it's how K-pop fandoms handle discourse. Instead of having real discussions, people would rather throw insults, pick sides, and reduce everything to idol versus company. But here's the thing, K-pop isn't a battle between good idols and evil companies. It's a complex industry where both sides make mistakes, both sides have responsibilities, and both sides rely on each other. Now, with all that being said, let's address the other side of the argument. While calling someone a company stan isn't always a valid insult, there are cases where standing a company becomes downright weird. It's one thing to acknowledge that K-pop is a business and recognize when a company is making reasonable decisions. But it's another thing entirely to treat the company like your bias. So before calling someone a company stan, ask yourself, am I dismissing their argument just because I don't like it? Is it possible that the company isn't entirely in the wrong this time? Am I giving idols complete immunity just because I like them? At the end of the day, K-pop is an industry, not a fantasy. Blindly worshipping idols isn't critical thinking, and neither is blindly hating companies. It's time for K-pop fans to stop using lazy insults and start having actual, meaningful discussions.